about. Okay. Forgot to plug in the camera, which is the most important part. Okay. Give me 1 second. I forgot to factor in one thing. Okay, perfect. Okay, a little bit of a screw up with the camera, but we are in action. So, trying something different with the camera today. So, we'll give everything a minute while I regroup myself really quickly. Okay, just. Should I be concerned that both. Oh, why is it not? I was working earlier. Why is it not? I thought I was ready ahead of time for a change, but apparently not. I'm going to go ahead and restart OBS really quickly, I think, because the preview is previewing, but it's not showing. Why is it not showing? Oh. Okay, it's always one technical difficulty. I thought we were good to go. Like I even tested everything out beforehand, but I guess things got a little testy when I turned off the camera. So this is fun. I'll figure this out. Give me 1 second. Oop. Wait a minute. What am I? Oh, that's the window capture. Okay. Oh shoot. Okay. Oh no, wait, that's not it. Deactivate. Activate. Properties. Okay, let me restart OBS. Okay, we're back. Okay, everything's working now. I guess I had to restart OBS, and for some reason, OBS did not like the fact I turned off my camera, and well, now we're live. Sorry about that. If I don't have at least one technical issue, is it really a stream? So anyway, in light of the current situation, seeing as so if I'll talk about this in next week's vlog, but with the current Valko situation, I think a lot of us just need a little bit more cheering up, and I figured I already have all the 5 other allies in my lineup when it comes to the Blowoos. Why not add Valko as well? Given that I know Valko may. So once Valko's official Blobbu is released, more than likely his colors will change, but I'm going to make my best guesses at a Valko Blobbu using some of the things that we've seen from the PVs. So I'm pretty sure his color is going to be black. I'm pretty sure his color is going to be green. By the looks of it. And I know I had a Google Doc that had some of his material. Let me, okay, so yeah, based off of some of the promotional work that we've already seen of Valko, it looks like his color is going to be a type of dark green or teal, which personally for me makes me very excited because if it isn't obvious, my brand colors and my favorite colors are within that color spectrum. So it makes me sad because it just feels that much more like Valko was made just for me because he checks out so many um of my preferences, and he's just give me, okay, just need to look up something really quick. Okay, anyway, so I think it's safe to assume that Valko's color is going to be green. So um I do have a few colors to choose from that I think would fit his color scheme. So look, so do have my phone out. Kind of hard. It's kind of hard to show it with the way I have my filming set up right now. But if you look at a lot of his promo material, it seems to revolve around the color green, especially when you look at the backgrounds of the city lights. So I feel like it's closer to pine green, but I have like 3 different shades of green that look near identical to each other. So with that in mind, I have velvet teal, which on camera the colors will look different. Like in person, they all look near identical except for pine. This one is emerald, believe it or not. I swear they are different colors. So I'm kind of working on a small space, so please bear with me. So this one is emerald, and this one is velvet teal, and then we have, this is pine, which right off the bat, looking at how they look like within the lighting, I don't think pine will necessarily be the answer. I kind of want to lean towards one of the teals. And like I said, these two specifically, they kind of like, it's kind of hard to tell the difference between their colors. I don't think pine is our answer, but like from this perspective, like they almost look near identical. Like their color variation is just barely noticeable. Like I'm pretty sure you can pass one for the other, but I feel like this one's a little bit more greener, if that makes sense. This one feels like a little, it's leaning more towards the blue, even though like I know it's hard to tell the difference on the screen, but mm, yeah, I kind of, yeah. So part of his advertising material, I don't think pine is the answer because this is pine. This is pine. I think that's a little too green. So I'm personally leaning towards this one, which I think is the velvet teal. Yeah, so I think we'll do Valko and velvet teal because I feel like there's a little bit more blue in the velvet teal versus the emerald. Emerald's a little more green. So, and I do have the base pattern for the Blobus. I will need to draft that a part of the pattern for his ears. I've done cat ears before. I don't think they'll be that difficult to make, to be completely honest. I've lost a safety eye. I'll find it later. I'll find it later. Oh, no, there it is. Okay, so we're good to go. Okay, so I think this is where the center. This is the one thing about Bernat velvet yarn that is a bit challenging sometimes. So hopefully, I feel like I found the center, so hopefully it pulls out nicely. I'm gonna end up cutting the entire middle, aren't I? I wish when it came to the like Bernat yarns, they actually were a little kinder in helping you find the middle of the skein, because I always like that's one of the things I appreciate out of like the Red Heart or the Red Heart yarn lines. They'll pull out the center of the skein so that way, like if you want to work from the center, you can. Given that I know with yarns like this, it's probably not the best idea to work out of the center, primarily because this type of yarn is very sensitive to friction specifically. And, ooh, this is gonna be a mess. Yeah, no, that's, hopefully the center is tucked away somewhere here. Sometimes you get lucky and you pull it out like right at the beginning. Sometimes you don't, and you're left with a mess. Hopefully the end is somewhere in here and it's not still in the skein. So far I'm just seeing I'm gonna turn into a tangled mess, aren't I? Okie dokie. Come on, buddy. Please play nice. Okay, that's pretty much the entirety of the skein right there. Ah. Oh, this is not good. This is genuinely not good. I don't. This is the beauty of working with Bernat Velvet. And by beauty, I mean nightmare. Okay, that pulls on the center. Let's see if we can just kind of rewind this a little bit and see if we can find our end, which, seeing as how much I pulled out, like, it's a lot. And I swear, if this turns into a stream where I'm just detangling yarn, this is going to be a very sad Valko stream. Mm. Mm. Okay. We've already hit our first snag, which let's bring the entire. Oh boy. Oh boy. I've gotten my wrist a bit of a bind. I really hope I'm able to find the end of this skein somewhere in this pile because wow, this thing is a mess. Okay, I'm just gonna. I think I'm gonna have to find something to wrap this around so I'm not. Okay, so say hello to Sagi Midoki. So this is the first prototype, and now he's gonna become a way to wind yarn because I've. You know what? My wallet's right there, and I don't need it anytime soon. Actually, let me use my wallet. I don't need that anytime soon. Famous last words. And I'm gonna end up in another tangle. No. This is the best I got. This is genuinely the best I got. Main reason I have a yarn winder though. I do have it out right now. I'll probably put it through later. Right now, let's see if we can find the end of this monstrosity. Now you'd think like the inside of a skein of yarn would be like not entangle free. That is never the case. Like it's in the center too. It's just like, how are you getting tangled on yourself? You're in the center. Yeah, I've found a bit of a snag. Oh, that's a lot. I genuinely thought I could hop on here and just have a nice stream where we pay homage to our little wolf pup. But I guess his mischievous nature has entered the chat. You're not even a cat, Valko. Troublesome little wolfie. Oh no, this is just gonna lead to a different mess. Thankfully, like the larger ball of skein, I can still traverse around. It becomes a challenge when it's... Yeah, I'm sorry, tonight's stream is turning into me trying to detangle yarn. This wasn't part of the plan. You know, there's a meme that says like, that goes along the lines of, um, what was it again? Like you make a plan, you memorize a plan, you don't stick to the plan falls apart. I need to start watching more TV. Jeez Louise, how did this get so tangled up on the inside? Like genuinely, what the heck, man? It's a lot of yarn too. And I know in some cases it's like it's just finding the right piece of yarn that kind of got accidentally looped into another loop. And then those are pretty like easy to undo. That is... The hell? Is this the outside of this skin too? Oh my god, what is this? What is this mess? Did it tangle with the out? Oh, I swear to god. Oh, this is deranged. I almost feel like just working off of one of the other ends and just starting from the outer, because I don't like working from the outer because I don't like the yarn like flipping all over the place. But I mean, for the sake of the stream, just to get anything going, I think I'll have to just detangle this later because I cannot make an entire stream of just me detangling yarn. That is just going to be sad. So we'll get started with what I have, and then I'll detangle this mess after the stream. Because otherwise we're not going to get a Valko Blobbu. And I want a Valko Blobbu, quite frankly. Lads already took Valko away from me. This yarn isn't going to take Blobbu away from me either. Okay, so mess of a ball of yarn aside, let's get started. So I do have a pattern written out for the base of the Blobus. So they all follow the same base. Okay. And it's a pretty simple pattern. We're pretty much just making a sphere, all things considered. Velvet yarn. I used a 5mm crochet hook when I made... Oh, okay, no, the recommended yarn size, so it was a 4.25 crochet needle. So I'm going to be using a 4.25 crochet needle for this evening. And this is the size I use for all of my Blobus. Specifically with the Bernat velvet yarn. So whenever I make amigurumi, like my preferred yarn is Bernat velvet. Personally, I just like the feel of it, even though it can be a pain in the ass to work with sometimes. So first round, it's good. Literally just going to be 6 single crochet into a magic circle. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then I use a method where you do 2 loops. Hopefully the yarn will play nice and pull through without breaking, please. Come on. Oh. This is the other difficult part about working with Bernat velvet. If there's a piece of the yarn that catches on itself, Like, notice how this little piece got frayed over here and it kind of just catches. So that is one of the difficulties about burnout velvet yarn, even, and I still like working with it anyway because again, the end product with burnout velvet is nice. Should I maybe find another manufacturer of chenille yarn? Maybe, but I just really like the feel of burnout velvet to give it up so easily. So we'll try that again. So that is going to be magic circle. We're going to do 6 single crochets into the magic circle. I feel like I need to come up with a better camera setup because last week I did try my phone, and now I'm realizing that it's a little difficult for me to try and stay in shot with how this is set up, even though it's a little bit more out of the way. I think it'll help if I move closer, but then I'm going to be doing shrimp back. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. At least I hope that's 6. Please pull through. Sometimes when you work with magic circle, this kind of yarn, it helps to loosen your tension a little bit. I know sometimes, like, I put a little too much tension. Ah, see, and that's kind of part of the problem with this yarn and friction is that sometimes you will pull on some of the fibers and the fibers come loose. And when you're tightening a magic ring, it kind of becomes a bit of a concern. So I personally like to do the slip stitch single crochet or slip stitch chain 1 to add a little bit of height. And personally, I just think it leads to nicer, straighter rows. It feels so good working with velvet again. Come on, thank you. Hopefully this pulls through. I've learned how to do it this way, but again, part of the issue with velvet yarn is that it does not handle friction very well, which is unfortunate. And then from here, it's going to be increases into all 6 single crochets. And I'm the problem. I'm going to go ahead and mark the first row, the first stitch in the row. I personally just still enjoy working with stitch markers. Today we have the little kitty that was formerly attached to Noise. So it's going to be increases in all the single crochets. I feel like it would help my position if I propped up the camera a little bit, maybe, because I kind of need to stoop myself low for it to be in frame. And I will admit, it's not the most comfortable position to crochet in. Let me try to see if elevating the camera will help a little bit. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay. What can I use to... Probably going to be the most unstable and stupid decision of the evening. This little... Oh, but I don't think the camera is going to... Oh, no, it will. Okay, I think that's a little bit better. Yeah, that's a lot better. It does need a little bit more elevation so that I can crochet a little more comfortably. Given that I am stacking it on top of a little jar that probably isn't the most stable structure, but if it works for the meantime. So I find this a little more comfortable. Okay, so we are going to go ahead, slip stitch, and then this is, so to be honest, like this, the pattern for the Blobbus is very simple because all you're really making is a sphere. And like it's a very standard pattern in my opinion. That's one. And then this is going to be a single crochet increase, so one, so groups of 3, you should have 18 stitches at the end of this row. Two, three, one, two, two, three, one, two, three, one, two, three. Okay, so I personally don't really count as much as I used to when I first started. I feel like I've developed enough confidence as a crocheter to get a general feel for when I have an accurate count. Um, just gonna pull out a little bit more of the yarn before I keep going. Yeah, the tangle this thing is gonna become a giant concern for me. Just was wound in a very weird way. Okay, so I think that should be more than enough yarn to get us through a couple of more rows. And next row is going to be, you're pretty much increasing for until row 9. So you're going to be 2 single crochets and then an increase for 6 times. I think if, yeah. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. The thing that helps with counting is you're going to have 6 groups of 4 by the end of this row, so that's going to be 24 single crochets by the end of the row. Three, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. I think I miscounted. Yeah, I miscounted. There should be 2 single crochet increase. The winds have also been picking up, and I think it's beginning to trigger my allergies. One, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. You want to teach your kids how to count? Make them watch crochet streams. 2. Like, genuinely, crochet is probably one of the best ways to teach multiplication. And possibly division, actually. Okay. Okay. Okay, so next group is going to be 3 single crochets and an increase. Then 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do want to check on this really quick. And oh shoot, no, I wasn't supposed to do that. Hopefully that didn't end the stream on YouTube side. Hope not. Okay, we're still good. Ooh, but that did it. No, it didn't. Okay. Yeah, there was an increase. So 1, 2. Anybody else a little suspicious as to how it's cooled down and it's July? Like, I've had Julys go into the hundreds in the past. We're still like, we're actually doing okay, and there's a nice breeze for a change. That's weird for July. Okay, we're gonna go ahead and now the next row is gonna be groups of 6. The larger this gets, the more it feels like it takes forever because you're adding more stitches. So like it feels like it takes longer to get through the rows, but it's kind of, yeah, it'd be like that because you are adding, like, you're going up by 6 each round. I feel like I miscounted. I'm pretty sure I forgot to increase somewhere. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because this row is going to be 5 single crochet, then an increase. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 1, 2. Seriously, I feel like I'm trying to teach people how to count. Like, this is what this feels like. Also, I hope that because part of me kind of zoned out a little bit, I hope I got on my increases. That's a nice breeze. I really need to get a haircut because my hair is like starting to reach that point where it's retaining heat. And it's annoying because one of the things with me, like, I can't put my hair up or I easily get headaches. And I don't think the wind is helping either because I'm starting to be convinced that these headaches are partially like allergies. And then we go up to 6 single crochet, or no, 5 single crochet, then increase. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh, I hate myself for that. 2. You know, I'm realizing from my previous market, just the 5 of them alone take up like 2 grids. And I'm realizing, where am I going to fit Valko? So I guess because it's kind of on my mind right now, one of the books I started listening to is I showed it during the vlog, The First to Die at the End. And it's the prequel to They Both Die at the End. And I reached a chapter where like they're kind of talking a little bit more about the people in charge of making the phone calls, the heralds. And you're also looking at it from the perspective of the person who created what I know I miscounted somewhere. Sometimes this happens, especially if you're trying to multitask, especially on row increases where you need to be counting. 4, 5, 6. But to kind of go back to that, like, you kind of get a little bit more insight to the guy who created Deathcast and his employees. And it kind of, like, in a way, I don't know, but it low-key kind of makes me that much more scared of social workers. Because um my mom used to work at an adult day adult day healthcare. And pretty much, if you're not familiar with that is, it's not exactly a nursing home, but essentially, people or patients are scheduled to come in on a regular basis. So they don't live there. They just it's literally a daycare. Um, so the way you would drop your kids off for a day to go play with their friends is kind of a very similar idea here, but these people also get some additional medical attention if they need it. And so it just reminds me of some of the social workers my mom used to work with. And a lot of the times like it really felt like some of the social workers didn't really have the most empathy in a field that requires empathy. And there's like this lady, and again, like I kind of understand the perspective of we all need to survive and we all need to work to survive. But there's like one of the characters, you kind of get a better glimpse into their perspective, and it's like it's so if you're not familiar with the premise of this book, essentially there is a service that calls people to let them know that they are scheduled to die within 24 hours. So this is supposed to be the prequel to the first book in the series. And hopefully I got my counts right this time. I am did I think I messed up somewhere. I'm pretty sure it's the row before this one. Yeah, it's the row before this one. Where are my counts at? Because it also looks I'm gonna redo this round and the previous round. Maybe I should really just focus in on crocheting this part and instead of trying to multitask. Okay, so let me go ahead and finish off this row. And let me do a count on this row just to make sure we have everything we need. So this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is row 6. So row 6 should have 36 stitches in it. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Okay. This row is fine. At least I hope. And I didn't accidentally miscount one, because the other joy of velvet yarn is sometimes it can be difficult to count. Definitely a yarn I wouldn't recommend to beginners. And then this one, it's supposed to be 5 single crochet, then increase. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We increase. We increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, increase, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, increase, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, just really needed to take that step back. But anyway, going back to the conversation of they both die at the end. Maybe I should wait on the book discussions for when we're not doing increases. That would be the wise decision. But I like that. Come on. One of the things that sometimes like I'm afraid of pulling too much on velvet yarn out of fear that it's gonna snap while I'm in the middle of working. Then this is going to be 6 single crochets and increase. So at the end of this row, you should have 48 single crochets. So 6 groups of 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then this is after the increase. So this is supposed to be 8. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then we increase. Go 1, 2. I feel the yarn ball getting tighter. Okay, that was 3. Where are you getting tangled? Okay, and my horrible decision making has caught up with us in the form of I'm pretty sure parts of the inside tangled with the outside, and I don't know how that happened. We were on stitch 3. Okay, so release demon. Okay. Okay, we're good now. I should probably pull more on this side so it doesn't get tangled with what I tried to pull out on the other side. Okay, no, it's gonna tangle regardless, but... Okay. So we were on stitch 3. Oh no, that is Velcro. Velcro Brad. Seven, 8. Now we'll know that I didn't miscount this when we reach the end and it's in the last stitch is an increase. Four, 5, 6, 7, 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I do not have confidence. 2, 3, 4. I missed a stitch. Okay, maybe I shouldn't talk about books and try to crochet at the same time. Okay, let's focus on our crochet and our row increases, because apparently I'm not good about talking about books while counting my. That was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, increase, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, increase, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, increase, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, increase, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Did something happen somewhere? Okay, hold on. Let me check the previous row. Did I do an increase? Because that is 2 rows, and this time we actually paid attention to what we were doing. Yeah, that was 2 crochets in the last one. I'm gonna undo one more just in case. Okay, so that's gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. It's supposed to be 42 at this. Okay, I really cannot talk about books while I'm crocheting. That is what we're learning this evening. Because I'm pretty sure the last row we did just fine. Okay. So I've gone back 2 rows. And the thing is, one of the things about velvet yarn, like I hate unraveling, is because it makes the yarn that much more fragile. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 32, 33, 34, 35, 36. Okay, so that row is fine. Something happened in this row. Okay, so 36, it's supposed to be 5 single crochets and increase. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then an increase, increase, and then I'm going in the right stitch. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, increase. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Got another increase. An increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then we got another increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and increase. And then next round it's going to be 6 single crochets and then an increase. Hello. Okay, so that's 1. Hopefully we get it right this time because I don't think I can handle undoing this and all the technical difficulties. Okay, thank you. Oh my god. Just want to see what the which app was the notification. Phone. Okay. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then that should be the increase because this row should come out to 48. because it's going to be 6 groups of 8. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, increase, 1, I think that may have been the stitch I missed, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then an increase. Genuinely, if you want to teach your children how to count, maybe even some multiplication, I think crochet is the hobby to get them into. One, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then an increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Oh, thank God we did it. And then increase. And then the next row should be the final row of increases. So it's a total of 9 rows of increases. And then from there, it's going to be rows 10 through 17 is going to be flat out 54 single crochets. And I just need to put my hair up really quick. Okay, hopefully that doesn't... See, the one thing about using the stick, my hair is a little too short for it right now. But whenever I use the stick thing to put up my hair, like my hair isn't long enough, so either I end up with a few strands falling out, which is fine because usually there are strands at the front, and I don't mind having like a few strays in the front to kind of act like a fringe. But then there are other cases where I do it too tight, and then I end up tugging at some strands at the center of my head, so that's probably not a good thing either. So the funny thing is, this yarn, I was reserving it for Nessie. Nessie never happened. Instead, I made a pink Nessie first. I think. There we go. I gotta have to pull through first. Okay, so that's 1. Okay. Last row of increases, then we can talk about books. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and there should be 7 single crochets and then an increase. 7 and increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then increase. I really hate these. I as much as I love the winds for making it cooler, I kind of hate it because I think it's making my sinuses act up, and I think that's linked to the headaches. Excuse me. I can feel it in my sinuses and I hate it. Okay. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then an increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, increase. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I was worried for a second. 7 and increase. Okay, now we can go ahead and just focus on our 54 single crochets until we reach row 17. I'm out of water. Okay, anyway, I probably should be ending stream, but I still want to talk about my book, goddammit. Anyway, so they both die at the end has a prequel of the first to die at the end, and pretty much this book seems to cover so far the very first round of what's it called? I said it earlier. Deathcast phone calls. So pretty much this guy created the service to pretty much let people know that they are going like when they're going to die. And by the way it works is that you get a 24-hour notice, like, so pretty much you get a notice saying within the next 24 hours you are scheduled to die. And like, I don't know. I have to say, like, I'm not a huge fan of the founder, and if you're supposed to build sympathy toward him, I find it kind of difficult to build sympathy. And same thing with the one of the colors in there. It's just it's one of those things that like genuinely it makes me more scared of social workers, to be completely honest. Because the entire premise of the book is what would happen if you got a phone call and that phone call tells you that you have the next 24 hours to live. Like, and the thing is, it's like not even a full guarantee 24 hours. Like, you can die within those 24 hours. So it's like for all you know, you could die within the next minute of receiving the phone call. So it kind of raises a question, like, if you knew that you were scheduled to die within 24 hours, how would you live your life? And I really loved the first book because it definitely does make you think about life and where you want to go. Like, what do you want to do with the very temporary time that you have on Earth? And I love books that kind of like delve into death in any way, shape, or form. Like I mentioned, I do enjoy darker fiction. So, um, like I enjoy exploring death as a concept or like as a topic. And the thing that I find very fascinating about this book is how they choose to approach death, and they show a variety of different perspectives on how everyone chooses to approach it. So I really like the first book because while there are two main protagonists to the story, and it primarily focuses around them, you do still get glimpses into other people's lives and how they are handling the situation, regardless of whether they are scheduled to die or not. In the first book, the two main characters were scheduled to die, and that ending was heart wrenching. Like you knew they were going to both die at the end. Like literally, it's in the title of the book, but it's one of those things like you just don't know how. And the way they both died at the end was just like, Jesus, like after everything of all things that happened to them, this is how it ends. And like the first book had me like really thinking about my life, and it's definitely one of those books that if you want a good existential crisis, definitely give it a read or a listen. Because the other two books that have done that for me so far was a book my friend recommended to me. I forgot what the name was. It was like a holiday rom or a holiday romance. And my friend refers to it as the gopher trope, but essentially this girl like whenever she experiences some sort of I guess life-threatening injury, her day resets. And like she has the power to pretty much do whatever she wants with that day and fix things to the way that she wants to and take risks she wouldn't have made if she had played it more cautiously. Um, and the other book that got really got me contemplating life was The Midnight Library. That one was such a good book, and I realized there is another book by the same author called The Midnight Train, and I'm kind of curious about that one as well. But they both die at the end, kind of follows the very same kind of exploration of death and life. Like if you could, how would you live your life differently, knowing full well that your life could end at any moment or your life has ended? Like going into the if you had a second chance, how would you live your life, or if you were to die, um, within within a set amount of time, what would you do? And the first book, I really liked it because it kind of highlighted how um, one character pushes the other out of their comfort zone, and then the other one kind of just makes them really think about what they've done with their life. Um, and I really enjoyed that they were good. They balanced each other out very well. But again, it's even though you know how the book is going to end, it's still pretty devastating when you actually see it happen or read it. And pretty much when they die, like you still feel the impact of it because you come to grow these characters and you see them, you follow their growth over the span of the 24 hours that they've come to the realization I could die at any moment within the next minute, how like it's time to either live my life, and you kind of see like one of the main characters struggle with that in the first book. This book, it's kind of like a wow moment because again kind of highlighting to the unpredictability of death, and these are the first phone calls. It kind of really hammers home a certain aspect of you really do not know when it is your time, because one of the main characters in this book is terminally ill. The second character seems to be a full, healthy man, and the person who gets the phone call is the healthy man, and the person who is terminally ill does experience a heart attack, but it's not like he's not going to die because the entire premise is that Deathcast is good at what they do and predicting who's going to die when. And I will say, because it does also raise up some really good ethical questions when it comes to how do you treat a person if you know how they're going to die. And it's actually one of the moral questions that they ask at the very beginning of the book, is that if you know a person has received the call, are you going to deprive them of um, any sort of medical attention they may need? Like it really raises that question really well, in my opinion. Why do I feel like on the YouTube stream my hands are very zoomed in. When I'm looking at the is it just me? Might just be me. Or it could just be is the screen just scrunched up? I don't know. I don't know. But they even raise this question at the very beginning because they have to bring the terminally ill character to the hospital for immediate medical attention. And it raises a very good, valid point of, do you deny medical care to somebody that you know that is gonna die within the next 24 hours? Would you reallocate those resources and save them for somebody that you know is going to live on to the next day? So yeah, it's kind of like one of those really harrowing. Like, the tone of the book is very mellow. Like, the way I would describe it is like it's a very easygoing book. And like, but it's got a very somber tone to it that it makes you question some of these very difficult life questions. So that was one of the moral dilemmas. And I have to say that when it comes to the creator of the service and one of the color or one of the heralds, I have to say it does kind of make me scared of people in these kinds of positions, because from the person who created the service, it almost feels like he has a god complex. Like, genuinely, it almost feels like he has a god complex. Like, part of his service is that he was able to come up with some sort of formula or some way to estimate, or like get a very scary accurate estimate of who's going to die within that day. He can't predict exact dates or times, so that's the reason everybody has 24 hours from the phone call to live their life. And in my opinion, he thinks he's doing a good service to the people around him, but at the same time, I think he is a little too self-centered to realize that what he's doing is pretty much telling people you're going to die. Like, I understand doctors have to do that, but at least with doctors, they're approaching it with a type of empathy that they know it's going to be devastating news and nobody wants to hear that. The way this character takes it is that I am gifting these people 24 hours to live their lives however they want, when no, you kind of just set somebody on a timer. And now that timer is beginning to tick down, and now you have this person, and the way he says it, it's like I'm giving them enough time to prep for their end. You are giving a person 24 hours to prepare for their death. And in my opinion, that is just a very bleak way of looking at it, as if you're doing a service for these people by letting them know that ahead of their intended death that they are going to die. Like, I think the character lacks a certain sense of empathy at the beginning that kind of keeps him from realizing it's like, no, you are delivering some pretty harrowing news to people and playing God. And the scary part about it is that his predictions are accurate. And you have all these callers that they kind of go touch into the. It's one of those situations that I kind of struggle with this character because, to an extent, he is trying to be considerate, and he hires people that he thinks are compassionate enough to deliver the message, that they can do it in a gentle manner while also doing it efficiently. In other words, they don't spend too much time on the calls trying to comfort the other person on the line. And they are very little affected. And I think one of the harrowing parts for me is that you have a scene where one of the callers or one of the heralds runs I think runs into the dilemma as he's doing his job and delivering all these phone calls, because it's highlighted how he's going slow and he's going too slow and probably trying to provide too much comfort to these people. And like, there's also a certain scene from the founder that I will get back to, but I kind of want to focus on this part first. Um, and he's going too slow and they're pointing it out. And then you have the other caller who literally sees this as a job. And like we all need to survive. We all do things so that we can bring money home and support our lifestyle, support our family. And you get the context that she does have a daughter and what it seems like she's a single mother trying to send her to a private school. And so for her, this is quite literally a job to make ends meet. And there's a part in that part of the book where she tries to give advice to the guy who's going too slow, and she literally tells them like, "Hey, if you need to speed up on your calls, and you know what helps me is that if you look at Deckers, which are the people who are scheduled to die, if you don't if you see them as no longer human, they are no longer people." And for me, like, if that is the attitude you're taking, and like part of the reason why I say it makes me scared, more scared of social workers, I need to double check that part of the book, but I think she was a social worker. But it also reminds me of a lot of the social workers that used to work with my mom. And I remember like like interacting with them, and sometimes I would get brought in to do translations. I'm not saying all, but there were a good portion of those social workers that they seemed very fake and plastic, which it kind of goes back to these people only see this as a job. And to some extent, you need to pretend like you have sympathy to deal with these people for the moment. And the idea doesn't sit right with me. And personally, I think that's part of the reason why I probably wouldn't survive in a medical profession, is because I easily get attached to people and I easily get sentimental. And I've been told by people that they think I would make a good therapist. Um, but like when it comes to certain areas in the medical field, specifically social work, I just think anything having to do with the medical field should come with natural high levels of empathy, while also being emotionally intelligent enough that you are aware of yourself. While and like one of those things that you being emotionally intelligent and self-aware shouldn't detract from your empathy. Like for me, I've always been able to kind of I'll still feel it, but I've always been able to reel myself back in. And I don't know, there's like the way she puts it is such a cold attitude for people who are receiving news that they are going to die. Like I feel like I don't know, I just really that character kind of left a very sour note on my tongue, and I just find it like I think that's kind of like her purpose as a character, is to kind of help bring up that other moral dilemma of when dealing with people, especially if you're a service provider and your service is delivering bad news to people who are going to obviously get very emotional because it's something that directly affects them. How do you handle it? Because you have two complete opposites taking in these phone calls. And one of them, you can tell instantly it's having an immediate toll on him, versus the other one who has managed to cut herself off completely from her emotions and doesn't even look at the Deckers as human anymore. And I think it raises a very it raises good food for thought. I'm crocheting Valko and I'm talking about books. But anyway, it raises a very good think piece in that what do you do in these type of situations? Because like for me, like as somebody who tries to be a nice to others and tries to understand the struggles that other people are going through, to say that just don't treat them like they're humans anymore kind of highlights an issue with some like kind of highlights an existing issue with some of the medical industry, where it feels like there's a lot of people working these fields who just needed money or wanted to make family proud, so they took up medicine and becoming a medical provider when they lack the sympathy, like at the very least sympathy, at the best empathy to work with patients. And the thing I also understand is that working with people is not easy. Like, it's part of the reason why I went into engineering, because and even though like I do some customer facing work, and it does require some degree of patience. It's nothing like in a medical profession where you're playing with, I don't want to say playing, that's not the right word, where you are handling the health and care of another person. And I just, yeah, like there are certain parts of that profession that I don't think I would be able to handle well, given that I am a sentimental person. Um, And it just looking at it, it's like, oh yeah, you just need to be objective when you're dealing with human lives. Just doesn't sit right with me in general. Because no, like just because a person like is going to die, it doesn't make them any less human than anybody else who is going to continue living to the next day, because at the end of the day, like the person receiving the call could very well be you or somebody you really care about. And you're going to have somebody on the other end of the line that treats you cold and callously when you've also treated people cold and callously. Like it really brings up, I think this book really does bring up some good food for thought when it comes to like these sorts of professions and these sorts of attitudes um towards the situation, or like toward, like specifically in this book, like towards people aren't going to live. So yeah, the other one that I wanted to get back to was in relation to the boss, but I kind of forgot what I was going to say on that one. um Let me think. Oh, hello. Let me think, because I did have something else to say in regards to that piece as well. I just forgot what it was about. Mm. So when the first call happens, it's the owner that does it because he figures it's the opening. He may as well step in and do it himself. So, um, he makes the first call, and then immediately during the call, there is a shooting that happens on the other side of the line. And there's a certain level of detachment that I think he portrays, that he's delivering this as calmly as he can, trying to reason with somebody who very obviously is scared and confused, because receiving the news of death is going to be jarring no matter what. You're going to go through the stages of grief regardless. And he doesn't really, and you hear in the background gunshots ring out, and his first concern is how is the government going to pin this on me? How is this going to feed into the conspiracies rather than yeah, this kid's life is actually at risk. And again, I just feel like there's a certain detachment and a bit of a god complex in that character, that if we're supposed to empathize or sympathize with him, like I can't bring myself to do it, because sir, like you think you're providing a service and you're wondering why people aren't more grateful for you. It's because you're delivering some devastating news to people who are now being put on timers, which I will say also brings up a very interesting thought piece. Because the thing about live cast is that you get a phone call every 20, so it's a daily service. So somebody's getting called. So it's like one of those things that you see a contrast of people who live their lives as they normally would. And like the second they receive the call, that's when they start mobilizing and trying to do as much as possible before they die. So it does bring up a very interesting thought of how we don't really mobilize ourselves until we know for a fact death is knocking like right at our front doorstep. So in a way, like you can maybe think of those 24 hours as a grace for you to kind of just do things off of your bucket list that you wouldn't have done if you were expecting to live the next day. So it does bring another interesting piece is that um where are we? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Okay, 3 more rows. So it does bring up another interesting point because at the same time, these calls are also catalysts for people to do things that they normally wouldn't have done if they thought they were going to live to the next day. So definitely, I think a book worth reading because it does raise a lot of questions and it really makes you think about life. And yeah, it's I don't know what else to add from that. Like it really makes you contemplate life a little bit more. Like especially from a concept of if you knew today was your last day, what will you do within 24 hours? If you're not even guaranteed those 24 hours. You just know you're going to die within 24 hours. So it's not even an exact timer either. So, yeah. Some very interesting things to think about, like very interesting things to delve into and examine within that book that yeah, it's because at the same time you get to experience the euphoria these characters go through when they finally do the things that they've always wanted to do. But likewise, they probably wouldn't have done just that if they hadn't received the call. So there's like a lot of things to explore, and to be honest, like I think I've only listened to 1 hour in of the audiobook, and already within like that short amount of time, given that I think it's an 11-hour audiobook, like it hits hard. It hits hard. Well, with that being said, I can feel myself getting tired and my voice getting hoarse, so I will go ahead and end stream right here. And I'll continue working on Valko for a little bit longer. But that being said, thank you everyone for joining me this evening. Didn't really talk much about Valko himself. Pretty much went on a whole entire tangent on the books I'm reading, specifically a book I'm reading. But at the very least, we got started with a Valko Blobbu, and he's got a bit of a dome right now. So he's got 3 more rows before we start decreasing, so it's not too bad. So with that, I'll bid everyone a good night, and I'll see you next week for another stream. So Tuesday is going to be another drawing stream. Once again, the Seijo Boys. And then that after that, the Tuesday is going to be actually, did I schedule a stream or two now that I think about it? Oh, yeah, yeah. Okay, so next week's stream is going to fall on a Thursday because I do need to go to the doctor's. And usually, again, doctor visits tend to wipe me out. So I'll see you guys again Tuesday for the drawing stream to continue working on the Seijo DVD AU. So with that, I hope everyone has a good evening, a good night, sweet dreams, or depending on where you are in the world,